following is a presentation of ComedyVoices.com.
Coming to you from the top of the Stand Up New York Comedy Club, this is a Stand Up Labs production, powered by ComedyVoices.com. Find your voice.
You're listening to Crass to Mouth.
Two open micers, please cede to the headliners of this table. Good Lord.
Ever just fucked somebody who wasn't your girlfriend while you were still with a girlfriend? Boom, HPV right up the pussy. It's like when a black person resists arrest and gets shot. Yeah, you shouldn't resist arrest. That doesn't mean that you should die for it. Okay, welcome back, everybody. I'm so excited. I know I always say that, but who we have today is... I start this the same embarrassing way every time, because I'm not professional. But we have Mandy Stadtmiller, who's the news whore. You guys might recognize her from, and that's your podcast.
Yeah, that's my podcast. And then I've been the kind of a regular guest on Pat Dixon's show on the Cumia Network called New York City Crime Report.
Yep.
So I've been doing that a lot.
Do you often report on Cumia's crimes
on the Crime Network? Yeah, you know,
on the Cumia Network.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I have opinions about that, which is that, you know, the first time that I met that woman, she basically, you know, talked about liking to kind of lie and set people up. And
oh, shit.
Really? Yeah, I mean, just like, I honestly...
Mad respect, yo.
This is classic Sade. Sade Pilot's here, and Calvin Cato's here also, who was just on Race Wars.
Yes.
Defending his ass.
I know. I feel like I didn't really get to say
what?
a lot. It has to do with basically this comic was at a mic and he said the N-word. And this black comic got offended and punched him in the face.
What? Who?
No one knows who the guy is
because he's only done it for 4
faded
months.
into the night
Well,
like
no one
Batman.
knows who the
Yeah,
puncher
he was like the
is.
black
No one
Panther who
knows who
showed
the-
up.
But
Yeah.
the open micer was Ed Farrell.
Yeah, the open micer was Ed.
He's like a straight up open micer.
Yeah, this is an open micer. And so he made a post where he's like, well, I felt like I was at least really brave for saying the word on stage, which I was like, you're not like
No.
Harriet Tubman for like saying it. Like,
But did he say that in the post? See, he was like,
No, he
I
literally
felt
did
sorry for
say-
saying a shitty joke with the N-word on stage. Like, it wasn't a good joke.
he said that, but he also still said, he was like, he literally said, I do
I'm
still feel
not
really brave.
apologizing.
Yeah.
And
he-
yada, yada.
Yeah, which I was like, that's really dumb.
Well, he's a warrior, so why
Yeah.
shouldn't he feel brave?
Yeah.
No, okay.
It just wasn't a good joke. It wasn't even anything like what Louis C.K. attempted, which is an acceptable and funny way to use it. He just like seemed like he wanted to get away with saying it, which is like, hey, you're gonna get punched for.
Right,
Exactly.
that was
And
the
I'm
whole
like,
thing.
sorry, that's the risk that you take. You're going to
Yeah.
get hit in the face sometimes if you say that word. And if you're super offensive before that. Like,
But I still didn't
I don't think
that
you should
I
be
still
allowed
did-
to punch anyone in the face
I
for
still
any
did-
word.
I didn't
It's just
agree.
a word.
I didn't think he deserved it because I took into consideration the context that he was just repeating what someone else said to him.
At an open mic also.
So on those grounds, it's like, it's not like he just took it upon himself to pull that word out of himself and use it against someone to try to look cool. Like, to me, that's an acceptable reason to punch someone.
But people like it was a comedy club, which it wasn't a comedy club. It was even more of a acceptable. Not that it's okay to just scream the N-word at people, but it's an open fucking mic, so it's even less of a standard than you would have at a comedy club where
Yeah.
it's fine to say whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with that, but I just feel like a lot of times there's so many like white comics who in their first year of comedy, like that's their like weird fetish is to be like, let me find a perfect N-word joke instead of being
Sure.
like, just work on actually being funny before you're trying to be controversial.
Yeah. I actually did listen to that episode because I had hung out with Natterman, who came to brunch with us and mentioned that he was on Race Wars with the
Dan
kid who got
Natterman.
punched at the mic. And I was like, oh, so let me listen to it. So now I do know who you are
Yeah.
because Kurt because he
Yeah.
was reading the comments and he landed on you or something. So yeah, I'm going to listen to that episode for sure.
So
and
wait,
see
what was your position on that?
Well, my position was this, is that I didn't think that he deserved to be punched in the face. I just thought, A, it was stupid that he claimed that he was brave for saying it, but he
Oh,
wasn't.
yeah, that's
That was
idiotic.
dumb. And the other thing, too, is that, like, me and a bunch of other black comics called him out where we were like, if you really were brave and were all about it, you would take that joke to, like, black rooms or, like, other rooms, and, like, he never did that. And he was telling that joke for a year, and, like, another black comic told him to not tell the joke.
That, to me, is the
So
crux of the
that's
story.
why I'm like...
It's not just working on material if you've told it for a year. It
Yeah.
should be worked. It
yeah,
should be
like,
worked
it should
out.
have worked by
Word.
now, and it didn't. So I was like, you're just saying the N-word on stage.
Yeah, to me, anything that is, kind of like material that might be offensive to women or people of color, to me, the standard is how do comics who are female or people of color feel about it. It's not how do social justice warriors feel about it.
Yep.
It's not how do, commenters at Jezebel feel about it. It's, and if another fucking comic told him not to do it, then he's just, that's.
But isn't there also something that just chafes you about anybody having veto power over what you say?
Well,
Even if what you
obviously
say
he doesn't have
fucked
veto,
up.
but I mean, it's like, I'm just saying in terms of things that I listen to, that's who I would listen to in terms of any kind of input on comedy that, maybe you should rethink that or, whatever.
Because that's a peer. That's a peer telling you. And plus with like the benefit of like a CV of being black or whatever.
Yeah.
So would you punch or not punch? What do you,
like I said, I personally would not punch him. And I did think that like, I don't think that he deserved to be punched in the face. And I kept saying that over and over again. Like, I still think that that's wrong. And like, no one should ever be like hit over like things that they're saying. But
I disagree.
Well, okay, no. I mean,
I disagree about this guy's particular instance. Of
well, no,
getting
that's what I'm
hit.
trying to say.
Yes,
Is that like in this instance, I was like, you were clearly in the wrong, and you were clearly agitating people, and like you just got punched in the face because you were an asshole. On top of saying the N-word.
Well, how do you come back from doing a shitty thing that's public? Like, I'm not even really talking about this open micer because who gives a shit, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, what if you're like Anthony Cumia, who did a fucked up thing, or his girlfriend, who people think is shitty, or
So this is like the You've Been Publicly Shamed book, right?
So-
this is like that. What the guy writes about. What's his
John
name again?
Ronson. Okay,
this is what he
right.
writes about.
All right, yeah, I can't help it because I'm obsessed with him, but he's right. So John Ronson, I just read his book. I just finished it like yesterday.
About this kind of thing.
And it's specifically this kind of thing. And people who got like brutal public smackdowns, like that chick Justine Sacco, who did nothing but tweet something stupid and got fired and has this whole online presence now of just being an asshole. Do you know what I mean?
Was she the one on the plane?
Yes, she was the
Okay.
one on the plane. And there's just like a million other people. There's this chick Lindsay Stone who took a like
Who is
jokey.
she?
She's the one that took like a fuck you picture in front of a sign that says "Be silent and respectful" at Arlington Cemetery, without and like uploaded it to a couple people on Facebook, and it went hugely viral. Like,
What's Arlington Cemetery?
it's that military cemetery.
For the veterans.
So that
Oh,
was
I
like
see.
You're going to get death threats now.
a bunch of viewers are going to be like, how dare you?
So if you're okay, here's the thing. Wait, can I just? I know. If you're listening, the person who tweeted at me last night at 4:30 in the morning to tell me Mandy should be on the show, then thank you, because that, I know I'm like really backtracking, but like this whole thing came together because someone, the most anonymous person that I know on Twitter, like I have no idea what this person looks like or their real name,
Right.
was like, Mandy should be on the show. And I was like, yes, Mandy should be on the show. And then Mandy was like, I would do the show. And now Mandy's on the show.
Yeah.
So thank
Awesome.
you for that. But
Yeah,
you-
that guy is like the best fan ever. He's like
he's
always
the best fan.
He's always tweeting different podcasts that, he wants to promote, and that's just, to me, like, that's, people like that, I don't know if they realize how valuable they are.
Yeah, you are.
know?
I know, I'm
Totally.
so
Yeah.
grateful to that. I don't like promoting, not because I'm not proud of the show, but I don't like it. It's embarrassing to me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
To
I
be-
feel like there's
to
always something
self-promote.
awkward. Like,
to self-promote. And when he does it, like, I'll just retweet his tweet of
Yeah,
like,
totally.
have you heard this podcast? And it like saves me the deep shame of having to promote my own work,
Right.
you know? But okay, here's like the big question for this whole podcast, for the duration of the podcast, is like, how do you get over not feeling humiliated all the time just in your life? And you're not a person who did something really bad. And then if you are a person who did something bad, at least just in the public eye, like, is there ever coming back from that? Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think I have the answer.
Please.
So I think the answer is in the chapter in John Ronson's book about the guy who was part of the like Nazi-themed sex party.
Oh, yes.
And he basically just kind of owned it. I think wasn't he Jewish? But he basically the way to come back from anything is to kind of Hugh Grant it, and
But Hugh Grant didn't come back from that, did he? Like,
yeah.
people.
What are you talking about?
yeah, he totally bounced back.
Yeah.
Did he really?
Yeah, he
I
went
thought
on-
You mean when he got caught
forever.
with the prostitute?
Yeah, he not only
Oh, he
not
still
o-
made movies after that.
he not
Yeah.
only
Sure.
and were they were wildly successful. I mean, was Love Actually after that? I feel
Yeah,
like
it was
was.
after that,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
like one of the most successful movies
And like
ever.
I know a lot of people completely forgot all about it. Like
Really?
And he
'cause I
also
thought-
single-handedly, revitalized like Leno in Late Night by appearing on that. But he went on there. Leno said, "What were you thinking?"
Yeah.
And he
Leno benefited from some of that hooker shine.
yeah, exactly.
He was so
And-
glowing off of.
But I mean, that's really all people want, is they just want whatever, the honest truth is. A friend of mine talks about like the age that we're in as being, the age of transparency or authenticity, because even like a soccer mom in Iowa is able to see through the bullshit, you know what I mean? Is able to see through, oh, that was like a staged viral video. Whereas it used to just be like, oh, look at that. Only maybe my like 73-year-old mom. I think she was like, I got an email that was like, my friend's in trouble and she needs it. And I was like, Mom, don't ever send money over there,
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that the answer always lies in, owning something, even if the thing you have to own isn't pretty. You know what I mean? And that's how you do it. And the other thing I would say is about not feeling humiliated all the time is to be humiliated. Because for me, like I've been humiliated. I mean, I get humiliated like every day. I just now like a lot of times don't read it. If you go to xojane.com, I started writing for them again for the last couple of weeks, and there's like 800 comments basically just lambasting me, and I haven't read any of them.
What's people? Oh, you haven't? Like,
No.
I feel like internet comments are always just so bad. Like no
Yeah.
matter what,
I
there's
would
at least
make
gonna be
myself
5.
read them. It would be like eating raw eggs in the morning for health reasons.
But that's not for health
That's-
reasons.
Because I feel like it's
some
so
of these
hateful.
people, some of these people are stalkers. I had one of these commenters show up outside of my house.
No.
I've had stalkers throughout my career at the Post, and like when
They showed up outside your house?
when you talk to like police or private investigators, they always say like, don't engage. You know what I mean? And so
Oh no, not to engage them, not to write them back.
yeah. But
there's
why
to-
would you let that into your consciousness?
Because to me, there is something very healthy and sane about knowing just how bad it gets so that you can brush it off and not be as easily affected by as
Okay.
easily upturned by
Then
it.
I
That's
see
why I
that.
plunge
Yeah.
myself into that kind of thing. But I also think
see that.
for the people who just hate you and who are going to hate you for symbolic reasons, there is never any coming back
But the
from
things
anything.
you write about also that people might get on you about are not bad things you've done to other people. Like you don't hurt anybody. It's like stuff about your life.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people who just, I think, just really enjoy not liking me, which I
Right,
get. I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
I have people that I hate read, and
Yeah.
I get why I'm annoying. I think I mean, I just like answered a question, and I took like 6 minutes. It's kind of obnoxious. You know what I mean? Like
I'm leaving some comments on your articles later.
yeah. So.
Yeah, but it's like it's so hard to shake the deep-seated feeling of humiliation. And it's even easier for me, like, not that I'm so public and people give that much of a shit, but it's easier if I've actually done or said, like, if I've misstepped and people are like, fuck that girl, yeah, that sucks. But it's easier for me than like the little humiliations I experience on a daily basis. Like
You just have
living
to-
in the city,
you
I'm
just
like,
have
I'm
to
not
embrace
good
it.
enough. I'm not, and my outfit sucks, and I'm not, and like this person looked at me weird, and I think like my skin is peeling, and I'm shiny, like you know what I mean?
So be shiny and not good enough, bitch. Like, you just have to embrace that too. I just talked about this on my podcast. I have a podcast called Friends Like Us that I do with other female comedians of color. And we talked about our New Year's resolutions, and Marina Franklin is the host. And you can see her in the Trainwreck movie. I'm going to make her pay me for that plug. See her in the Trainwreck movie. But anyway, she asked me what my New Year's resolution was, and I said it was to be stupid. Be stupid. It's like, because my fear of being stupid is what keeps me from saying things that are potentially smart and funny. Like just being overly cautious about it. So it's like the
It's also
only...
not wrong to be stupid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The only way that I'm going to show myself or prove to myself that I can say and be really great things is to shrug off the feeling that I've just done or said something dumb. And it's a hard feeling, like, because you're gonna fucking feel it. You really are, but you got to be like, I don't care. That motherfucker's dumb too.
Yeah.
And that other person's done dumb things too. And it's like no one is above being or looking that way. So you really just have to embrace it and accept it.
Clinging to the hope that I might not be a piece of shit is like the worst thing that's ever happened to me. You know, because I just am. Like, aren't we all?
Yeah.
I'm
Like,
such
we're
a
all-
piece of shit.
You're not.
Totally.
Why would you say
We're all
that?
not
I don't. I mean,
No,
I guess
no,
you're
I
just
don't
being
mean-
funny, but
No, I don't mean. I mean,
there are
kind of,
actual
but-
pieces of shit. You're not.
I don't
one.
mean I'm like a killer or a rapist or like a bad. Like, ultimately, I love my fellow man and whatever. But I just mean, like, I have all the petty, dumb impulses that everybody else has.
All
And
the
sometimes
human
I dress
pitfalls
dumb and-
of
Right.
Yes, and like I'll be stoned on the train and look at someone goofy. Like, I just do all the shit that, you know what I mean? Like, I'll make people uncomfortable without meaning to, and just the regular shitty. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the thing that embarrasses me so deeply that I always forget is a thing I have in common with people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I always feel like most of the time, like if you are having that expression, like I always feel that way when I'm high on the train, but I realize that like the person across me is probably also just as high, if not higher, and
Right.
does not care.
And also could give a fuck about
And they're
it.
high on like bleach or something.
Yeah.
It's not even like a cool high.
yeah.
They're high on crocodile.
Right? Oh my god! Oh my
That's
god!
the only
Now
drug
that
that I
shiny
do.
peeling
That's
shit.
No, I limit myself to crocodile.
What do you call
And
people
meow
who are
meow. Yeah.
addicted?
Meow meow.
I don't know.
It's an Indian like club drug, but what do you
Yeah.
call
Oh.
people who are addicted to crocodile? Because there's like meth head or crack head. What do you call them?
I
Dad.
think you call them dead
Or
young.
Yeah.
zombies because it
croc
makes your
block.
flesh croc. That's a croc block
Did you guys see the Vice on that? That is the most
No, I
disturbing.
didn't see it.
on crocodile.
Yeah, it's like
I read
like
the
if
article
you
about
took
the girl who
heroin
injected
and you
it into her pussy.
disintegrated-
Whoa, what?
What?
She
do
injected and
that?
her pussy fell off
No, that's what happens.
Yeah.
Things just fall off.
because it does something with your skin and
Yeah.
the flesh dies and it has to be removed medically. And this girl was trying to hide it, thought she was being cute, hiding it, and she was injecting it into her pussy, and the bitch lost her pussy.
Wow.
Yikes.
Yep.
What's in there? A deeper hole? How do you just lose a whole pussy?
Well, they just because it just the abuse it had destroyed the flesh so much that doctors at first doctors thought it was just a really like horrific STD.
they thought
like
it was just a regular pussy.
some new shit.
Well, it's gross, but it's normal.
No, they thought they had discovered some new STD
Like
that would make them
megasyphilis?
famous. Yeah, like that they could take to the press. We found, but no, the bitch was just doing crocodile and injecting it into her vag.
Not
and-
here.
I mean, her labia. Vagina is
Yeah, yeah,
not
yeah,
the
I
actual,
gotcha.
the right medical term for the outer labia. She was injecting it into her labia.
From what I understand about it, like it's not even an incredible feeling. It's just cheaper than heroin.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like, if anyone out there is like wanting to purchase heroin, but you're having to get crocodile, I will start a GoFundMe for you.
For heroin,
Hit me
to get
up.
heroin.
Yeah, because no one should be doing that.
Yeah.
If you need an
Right.
extra $10 to get heroin,
No, there's
you
like
know.
a dude in my building. I'll help you. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever done heroin?
No, God.
No,
I've never-
not that I wouldn't, but I've done
Don't,
dumb
dude.
goofy shit.
I've done a
but
lot
I-
of different drugs, but heroin I'm afraid of.
Yeah.
I'm afraid that I would really love it too much.
But
and
I do.
would fuck my life up.
heroin like pills. Like I take OxyContin every once in a while, and that's
Yeah.
But
supposed
I
to be
feel
like
like pills
very
are different
similar.
because pills are like regulated.
Do you
whereas, like,
snort it?
I would
No.
never.
Okay.
You know what? I'm not opposed to snorting, but I don't like it. Like the way I don't like the taste of alcohol. I don't like the feeling of a thing. It burns. It's unpleasant.
Yeah.
I don't snort stuff really.
Yeah.
But
I snort the birth control pill.
no, that's smart. It's because you're a smart
Yeah,
woman.
I just want to really make sure.
It's a snortable version.
Yeah.
Oh, it hurts. It hurts to laugh. Oh, that's really clever. It's a good way to administer it.
Yeah.
When I met Sade in college, well, I was in college, but I wasn't, so whatever. I was that age. And when I met Sade, I did like this dumbest drug use I ever, like were you
Oh, I
there
was-
in
no.
the room when I did that? I
wasn't in the room with you.
mainlined cocaine with
I
people
remember
I had
that.
just
Whoa.
met at work.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I was like 20 or 21.
You were like the chick in
I was
Traffic.
still a virgin. I didn't see Traffic.
Oh, you should see that.
I've
It's
never
good.
seen
It's a really good
anything.
movie. Erica
Yeah.
Christensen. I was just thinking about that.
I'd never had sex or seen a dick in person, but I did slam cocaine.
You mainlined it.
Yeah.
What did you do? What was that night
It
like?
was so
The
fucking
girls
bizarre.
the girl we were with and her boyfriend tried to pimp us out to the drug dealer because
They
it
did
was his
try that.
apartment. It was the drug dealer's apartment.
We went to like a weird third world,
was in the Lower East
scary
Side.
drug guy, like cocaine. You know, like a weed dealer is a friendly person, but a coke
Right.
dealer is terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
So we went to this dude's apartment, and then they were like, "Here's the plan. You girls can probably get drugs from him." And we're like, "Ooh, tell us more." Like just idiots, just young idiots. So we're alone in this room together. Like they gave us a secret word to yell if we were having trouble, but they left the
God.
apartment.
no one
Like,
told me that word, Karen.
Only
you knew the word.
It was her name, so like I can't say it on the podcast, but
Right.
it's like the name that she didn't go by, but it's her real name.
Right.
And she was like, "Just yell it, bye," and then
Rosie
left.
O'Donnell.
Rosie. It was so weird. We got
But
the
I
fuck
think
out
he,
of there
I think
when
he
we saw
thought
a
that he
dick.
was gonna fuck both of us, right? Didn't he think?
For like not, and we were like,
We were
okay,
both
we
sitting
just
on
want
his
lots
bed.
of cocaine. He
Yeah.
was like, I don't know about that. We're like, well, what? How's this gonna be good for us?
He's like, I want to see you naked. Remember that?
I
And
do
we were like-
remember.
So
I
wait,
was like,
So wait,
I
when
was
did
like
you-
fake porn touching Karen, like, ooh, does this look nice?
It took
like
us 2 minutes
like
before we were
grazing
like-
her boob, and he was like, oh, that's not nothing. I want to see you guys naked.
He was like, it's nothing, and to
I
us
was
it was
like,
so
oh,
something.
I was like, so maybe I'll just squeeze her thigh more. That'll be good.
We had
that
no
will
idea
work.
what we were doing. It was the
had
most
no-
amateur
So
trying
how
to
did
be
you?
a whore.
How did you end up leaving?
We just we got our shit and bounced after a minute of that.
But did they take drugs from him in the other room?
Oh,
I
here
thought
was the best part. They were like, while you guys are doing this, we'll just try to rob this person.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were like, great idea.
Drug dealer from like a South American
No, a
drug dealer.
scary one, not like a nice, like
no.
American black person
No.
or even better, white. It was like, I was kidding, just like a not a non-threatening person. It
Yeah.
was like someone who was
Someone very
fucking
scary.
terrifying.
Your friend or
yeah.
boyfriend wanted to die. Like that's really crazy scary.
I
That's
missed
stupid,
well,
very stupid. We
Here's
could
why
have
we were
gotten hurt,
dumb
you know?
because I saw there's so many red flags. You know, like when you look back and it's not just a little bit obvious. It's like upsettingly obvious that I would even put myself and us in the situation
Yeah.
like that. But they were so scabby. Like my friends were so physically scabby. Clearly, it was not. They're like we just occasionally do that. Like clearly they had
Yeah.
like a serious problem of shooting
Clear
up all the
addiction.
time.
Yeah, you could just see it in their skin and in their health. And
She
yeah.
wrote me years later and apologized. She's like a kid. She moved back home and like is settled. And she was like, I don't ever want to bring this up again, but I apologize for having even put you in that situation. That's not who I am. Like it was really sweet. And
She
I
was a
never
really
held it
nice
against
girl,
her.
yeah.
She was a nice girl. And
Super nice girl.
Like
We
I
really
did
liked
that.
her.
I went there. You know
That
what I mean?
happens a lot. Is that's not who I am, and cocaine get used in the same sentence. That's like a good wrap up.
Well,
you
even
know?
when
It's
that
like Mad
night-
Lib's drug apology.
Cocaine is a fucked up. It's not even like a sleepy
Cocaine
high
is
like
what
heroin.
got me sober. I only did it
What
like.
do you mean?
Really?
Well, I mean, I'm like 5.5 years sober.
Congratulations.
And,
And
yeah.
congratulations on getting married, by the way.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Yeah,
congratulations.
thanks. Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
That is
because
fucking crazy.
I'm like 40, and I mean.
Oh, I thought you were so much younger.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's wearing sunblock.
Yes.
Yeah, Karen's excellent. I learned all my skincare stuff from Karen. She's obsessive about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not
you know,
chill
I had
about
a
it.
dermatologist tell me in my 20s, always wear a hat. And
Do you?
well, yeah, for a while people would make fun of me. I'm not as good about it anymore, but
Because
you know.
hats are humiliating.
You mean a big wide brimmed hat
Yes,
that
one
covers
of
your
those-
face real floppy? No, those are perfect.
Yeah, because those really make a difference.
They protect
in
your face.
aging. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Even
They
if you're
say
wearing
about
sunscreen?
like what's that?
Even with sunscreen, you still got to do that.
Even with sunscreen, I mean, that's what provides 100%. But anyway,
Oh, fuck.
yeah, yeah,
That's an embarrassment.
But yeah, so I mean, like I once when I had a dating column for the Post, I wrote a column about my friend who got engaged at 37, and I called her like the Great White Hope of New York because like
Shit is funny.
yeah, and so yeah, the fact that I mean, I was like done. I like given up.
How long were you with him before you got engaged?
It's pretty fast, huh?
Yeah, it was a couple months. Yeah. I mean, we did the engagement like publicly in September or October. Yeah. So, yeah, we did it a day before my 40th birthday, and then we got married at Gotham at his show.
Oh,
it was like the ultimate bringer. It was like the wedding. It was like a wedding bringer.
That's dope. That's really nice.
Yeah. It was cool. But but the sobriety. So I had never done coke because I thought, I bet I'll like it because I really like pleasure and hedonism and like, whatever. And so sure enough,
You loved it.
I loved it, and like and I had a night where it was just like, just like out of a Lifetime after school special. I just combined two things: a Lifetime and after school special. It's like the ultimate. And
What did you do?
Well, so I don't know. It was just like my friend and I, we had like a lot of throughways together at this time, and like she's not even
That's my friend of doing that.
Oh yeah.
it's kind of just like it's like the ultimate kind of like slumber party experience with a girl.
Yes,
because you're just like, oh my god, and remember when I was, and. You know what I mean?
I do know.
Because you can't do that with a dude. Remember?
No, you can't.
Yeah.
And you can't do it with like such a casual friend either. Like it has to be like your girl that you trust.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I had one girlfriend once tell me I wrote her some email and I was like, God, I'm like so just like sexually frustrated the other day. I just like absentmindedly licked my vibrator, and she was like, "Don't ever write me anything like that
No,
again."
she didn't.
She did.
That's a bad friend.
Yeah,
That
that's
should
not
get
a fun
cut
friend at
off.
all.
Bad
Well,
friend.
but see, I don't think she was just really uncomfortable with that.
But she shamed you because of her discomfort.
Yeah, she did.
She has
that's
no
shitty.
place in your life.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's interesting. But anyway, so then I just like kind of. I went to a party with that friend, and two guys immediately just kind of like plucked us off the vine as being like, these girls are fucked up, like they've been smoking weed for a couple of hours. And then, went to their place, and one of them mentioned coke, and I was like, oh, yeah, you should definitely get that. And I was like the only one doing it, and my friend was like, Mandy, like, stop, And I was like, come on, I'm like, let's. Sorry.
We can bleep it. We really can.
You can?
Yeah.
Well,
the live tweet's too late, but we'll bleep it.
Sorry, 7 people.
Well, and also that's a very common name, and I have probably like 100 friends named.
It's my sister's name, so you're fucking with me.
And it was your sister. It was Karen's sister. How old is she? Is she like,
cunt.
Is she like 52?
She's 27. She was 9 when you guys had this experience.
The plot thickens.
You evil cunt. Please continue.
So I was like, come on, like, let's, I was basically like date rapey frat guy. It was like, I look back on that and I am so disgusted by myself.
Yeah.
And I apologized to her, because I was just like wanting to, I guess, justify like how, fucked up my behavior was by like adding more fucked up things to it. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but like,
What do you mean? Just like being in a
I was
sexual
trying
thing
to,
and cocaine?
Yeah. I was like, come on, let's keep ramping this up.
But that's how it is when you're on blow. It just feels like a constant need to ramp it up. And then it's so crushingly embarrassing later.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel like you're
Embarrassing?
doing the wrong. I mean, it's not embarrassing.
Well, like
the
in
way
that
I feel
example
embarrassing
that
in public,
I
but
gave, when you're embarrassed,
Oh,
when you're ashamed, to me that's like good shame.
Yes, that's
like
a healthy shame.
Yeah, because that's like really, it's kind of like good risk and bad risk,
right.
That's
exactly it. And it's shame also because for me it's like involving other people too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like when we were in that guy's fucking apartment, it wasn't because you dragged my ass there. It was because I had these people over my place and I'm like, this is a great idea. So I did that to you. Do you know what I mean? And that's what's shameful. Like if I just gone alone, that would have been real dumb. But I also involved my friend.
Right.
So
but I wanted to
that's
be there. I
shameful.
didn't have shit else to do. Like, I was happy to tag along. But who was I thinking about? Just to slightly change the subject. Oh, Lena Dunham. So, this goes back to the idea of like, what can you do to redeem yourself?
Yeah.
But sometimes you can't. So sometimes I read an article like Lena Dunham has made some comment, and then I go down to the comment sections and everyone's calling her a child molester.
I remember
saying
that.
like, oh, she touched
right,
her
because the sister-
sister's pussy or some shit like that. And so it's like she wrote about this experience in her book where she did this very normal thing that all children do, you know, with their siblings or kids their age. And she just like looked at her sister's vagina in like a playing doctor
She
kind
didn't
of way.
fuck her sister.
But now she's forever going to be a pedophile to people who just hate Lena Dunham, just on principle,
But
because
they weren't
she's
people who
not
were on
skinny
her side
or because
and then
she's
left.
Sure, because of that.
No, I'm just saying they weren't fans
Yeah, I
of
was
Lena
gonna say,
Dunham. Like
because,
they
like,
were gonna
for
find a
my-
reason to be like, well, she's
Yeah.
fat and her
Well,
hair
yeah,
sucks.
that-
you know?
that's what I'm saying.
Because I know
So-
there were Lena Dunham haters before like that had even come out, and it's one of those
absolutely.
things again where it's like if people already hate you and like say you post an article, they're gonna find reasons to be like, well,
Right.
you suck for da da da, and like
And the
nitpick.
dishonesty of that is
Yeah.
saying, I hate her for this reason. No, you don't.
Yeah.
You
Right.
hated her. And now you're you're so overjoyed she said this.
Yeah.
Exactly.
She said it. No one found it out about her.
Right. So the idea of, you know, us in comedy potentially setting ourselves up to be that person, like you have to realize, well, there are people who are just going to hate you on principle, and anything you put out there, which we have to be open books just because of what we do. It's a part of the job to divulge
But it's also
the
an all or
shitty,
nothing
dark
job.
things about yourself,
But
you
if-
know, but
if
people
you're-
are going to use them against you. They are.
If you divulge, I think, some shitty things about yourself and then not others because those are the real things that you're embarrassed about, that's what'll fuck you, I think.
You
know
think
what I mean?
so?
A half honesty,
I think
living your life half honest.
so many people do that who are wildly successful and famous.
Do you think that's like to their bend? Like, is that the right thing?
Yeah.
I think it just depends on like their style
Yeah,
of
for
comedy.
some people, yeah. I mean, like because I mean, I know someone who's done personal memoir, and yeah, it was like, you know, really dark stuff. But there are certain things where it's just like, you know, I'm not going to go into that because that's not going to be, you know, the smart move to make. And you know, honestly, like Lena Dunham probably should have thought about that, you know. But yeah, so I mean, I'm not saying. I'm just saying that it's understandable
hold
that
back.
that happened. Well,
Oh, I
it's
see, I see.
just
Yeah,
that the
yeah.
just that the backlash happened the way that it did.
Yeah.
I never really followed the whole thing about naming or, you know, describing the guy with the rape accusation in the book, because I think that got redacted in later editions. Like they
did it?
didn't. Yeah, because I know a lot of the critics of Mattress Girl have kind of lumped in Lena Dunham in that category. But
I don't know enough about it.
Yeah.
Because I just
We
read
were
the
talking
excerpt
about-
of Kid Touching, and I didn't read the rest of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's a great book.
Is
yeah,
it?
yeah. I'm all about like the female comedic memoirs. Mindy Kaling's book is great.
Loved her book. Yep.
Yes,
Tina Fey's book
Please.
was good.
Yeah. Yeah. They're that's like I love those. So
I'm gonna check it out.
yeah. And we were talking about Beth Stelling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Earlier, and just like all of that.
See, I was, as much as I was proud of her for coming out, a part of me was so irked when she herself didn't name him. I had to go on someone else's Facebook, someone who doesn't even know her. Well, no, I think she knows her from the scene, but might not be friends with her. Yeah. And I had to seek out that person's feed to get the name of the dude. Like, I don't know. I just don't understand what she felt she was. I don't know why she still felt the need to protect him.
I feel
after
weird
all
about
of
that
that.
whole thing too.
I think I also feel like
'Cause
there
he should
are
be
also
shamed.
legal. I mean, I agree about that.
But she
completely,
claimed she didn't want to out him, and then really did. Like, gave a time frame. All I had to do, I sent one text. I go to a friend who I knew would know, and I go, "Is it Sam Morrill who she's dating now?" She goes, "No, it's probably this guy who she dated over the summer."
Yeah.
That's it, because she said over the summer. So now I
Right.
know. Now
Yeah.
we all
Right.
know.
Right.
She knows.
But I
she
feel
did
like
that.
there's
So
also,
maybe
like,
that was a
legal-
smart thing on her part. Maybe she knew that if she just gave enough.
Seemed disingenuous on my
Ancillary
part because
informa-
she said, "I'm not trying to out this person," and then left a very obvious trail of breadcrumbs.
But I also feel like it might have been like a legal thing as well, like just for like gray area issues where it's like, okay, I don't want to like directly name just in case there's some sort of weird defamation or whatever.
But you know, libel lawsuits or defamation, they only hold up if you told a lie. So if you
Right.
tell the truth,
Yeah.
you are insulated from that. And the truth is, other people have come out also and said this guy did stuff. And then Cale Hartman, and we could just say it's all out in the open.
Kale
but,
motherfucking Hartman.
Yeah.
it's on the internet. You just
I would
look it
say
up.
it's like on Facebook, like
Right, I'm not outing anybody, but so people came out and said this, but Oh my God, what was I just saying? I can't believe I just lost my sentence. In the
You're
middle.
talking about libel and how it's only
I'm so
libel if you
deeply
actually
ashamed.
tell them.
Oh, this is humiliating.
She can only be sued if
Oh,
she told a lie,
yes,
but she has
yes.
picture evidence. Did she go to the police?
I don't think so.
I don't think
We don't
so.
think she
But
did
I'm
go.
just saying, because there's other people who also came out, he would never want to go through, like, other people, like, more women would come out of the woodwork if he even dared to go through a legal process over it. Like, he's not going to do that.
I have to say, I do have a kind of train wrecky, gawkery side to me, where whenever something is unfolding, where it is like a public shaming, I am fascinated to kind of see, what's going to happen. Like
Right.
Gian Gameshi.
Oh yeah, the
The
Indian guy who is
Canadian-
Canadian.
Yeah,
Correct, yeah.
just it's really because you are also watching mob and vigilante justice in action,
Right.
and it's really kind of, I don't know. It's a complex kind of thing, because I don't think that. I personally think that the world isn't necessarily served in terms of justice by putting an allegation on social media
I agree with
versus
that.
going to the police. Yeah, just because of that, because of mob mentality, witch hunting.
And because there's no resolution to a thing that's not a process. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, at least if you go through a legal process, as much as I know it doesn't come down on the side of women as often as it should, still, once that's resolved, there's an end to it. There's a sense of closure.
Yeah.
Someone can be punished and then do the punishment and be somewhat redeemed, at least have
Right.
paid.
But I guess I feel like the problem is that a lot of times, like, they aren't punished, and I mean, I just feel like I've known, like, friends who have been in, like, similar situations who have
Yeah.
like tried to get the police to get involved, and
nothing
nothing
happens.
happens, or they're like, okay, we'll take like a rape kit, and then it just like sits untested for years.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Right.
really hard to get justice to move forward. So I mean, I'm not like a completely full fan of like, hey, you should always like internet shame someone, but I feel like in a
Right.
case like this, that definitely is something that needs to go out there.
So I mean,
And
I'm
so
just
is-
curious. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
what
yeah.
what do you think would happen if, like Cosby or him, or like one of those kind of people, or James Dean, the porn star?
Oh,
who
yeah.
he's been accused.
Yeah.
Like, say one of them, I don't know, killed themselves or something. What do you think the reaction would be to something like that? I don't think any of those people. I don't think that's ever going to happen. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I just because like I feel like a situation like that hasn't necessarily happened yet.
Oh, because these guys don't kill themselves enough. Is that what you're saying? They don't. They fucking don't. They fucking don't.
Some
they don't
people
kill
do.
themselves.
I'm not talking about rape instances specifically, but people have killed themselves over instances of shaming. Like, that has happened.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but I'm talking
and
about
that's
abusers of
horrible.
women. I'm talking about the rapists, the domestic abusers. Like
Right.
Mike Tyson should have been killed himself.
George Zimmerman should have
Fucking-
killed himself.
But I'm not.
Mayweather should have been killed himself.
But that's not justice. Like, that's not just. Do you know what I mean?
The justice part is that other people have to do the justice. But if you do the justice, well, then no, it's not, because you've taken that off our hands. Do you see?
But I don't think that the death penalty even like is the. I don't believe in the death penalty.
Right.
Period. Just because I think if you even get one
innocent person, then
you
fuck
shouldn't
it
do
all.
it to
I
anyone.
believe
absolutely,
I believe in the death
absolutely.
penalty only if there's been like at least like 10 retweets on something, and like a minimum of
My
like a
dream.
50 fave-star tweets.
Oh my God.
And then it should just be like immediate death.
No, I'm not saying that a guy.
I've been working towards 10 retweets for years.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that a guy deserves the death penalty for doing something like that. But if he kills himself, that's totally fine.
Wow. Yeah. See. Okay. That's really interesting. So you answered my
know.
question, which
I
is
have a-
that. Yeah.
And it's not that I think that, not that I don't think that suicide is a very sad thing. Like, even,
Yeah.
like, there are some people in these men's lives who know them as brothers and as sons and as really great people. So it's like that also complicates. Like, I know they're not monsters to everyone.
And I'm not a rape apologist, but like what happened to this dude that made him like that? Do you know
Exactly.
what I mean? I'm not
would
saying that
love
makes
to
it
hear
okay,
them. No, I would love to
but
hear
he
them
didn't
speak.
just emerge fully formed
Right?
raping people.
No. Cale Hartman, I would love to hear him just defend and explain himself of why he felt that.
But he's
Well, he put up
fucked.
that
He's just
Facebook
fucked.
message, but
He put
that
up
such
message.
poor
I don't know if
taste.
you read it.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't see
Yeah,
that
he
one.
put up a message. It was like I don't know. The way it read did not feel like any sort of real explanation. It was more of like it wasn't as severe as you think, and like a bunch of like wishy-washy double language. Like,
But doesn't some part of you just like I my heart goes out to her, obviously, but I'm just saying in a situation like this, I always feel a little bit bad for the person who's being shit on, even if he's a monster. Because I don't feel like that's so alien from a thing I could experience. Not raping people, but being so misunderstood in the public eye. Maybe he's misunderstood, maybe he's not. Does this make sense?
Well, I mean, did you see at Molly, how do you say her last name? Molly McAleer, I think.
Oh, I don't know.
She's a female comedy writer. She's on Two Broke Girls, and she was the only person I saw who she tweeted. She said, I've known and loved Cale Hartman for years, and this is, heartbeaking. I hope.
That's what I'm saying.
I hope he gets the help he needs, and I thought that was like actually. That was kind of like what you're saying.
He's not a person, even
Right?
if
He's not a monster
great
to
person.
everyone. Some people love him dearly and feel that he should be given a fair chance. And I would love to give him that fair chance if he would speak honestly about where his mind is and where his mind was when he beat the shit out of his girlfriend.
But
You're just trying to book him. Be honest.
There's an open invitation to Cale Hartman, which is not selfish. It's for you, Cale.
Crass to Mouse / Cale Hartman redemption hour.
No?
Yeah.
I can help you, Cale. Get at me.
Yeah.
I just feel I feel a little bit bad for the guy who now can never get away from this. I just do. Even if he did it and he's been this publicly shamed, that's brutal. Like, if I were on the receiving end of this, I would want to just crawl into a hole and die. Just reading the shit people say about me. And even if you read the comments on the post he wrote, people are like, well, you should die now. That's not a good post,
Right, but just to be...
I still laughed.
And that was just about like the grammar.
Right.
They were like, you didn't use a serial comma.
Yeah.
Fucking kill yourself.
You're not funny.
Clearly
improv.
a colon should have been here. How dare you?
When I see guys like this get sympathy, or when people want to give them the benefit of the doubt and stand back and be like, well, maybe we should go easy on them, I always think of the women who've been, so just easy example, like a Kim Kardashian. Like, if something comes up from a woman's past, say a sex tape, any kind of sex work, stripping, we don't forgive her. Do you know what I'm saying? There is.
What are you talking about?
She has a
culturally, we don't. I mean, there are still
She's
people
the
who
most powerful woman
and
in
the most
world.
hated simultaneously.
But even if she hadn't got peed on or whatever, she would still be the most hated because she's very successful.
She was not. Kim wasn't peed on
by Ray J.
Oh, he did.
Okay,
well,
there you go.
Oh,
you didn't watch the video?
Yeah,
I just watched the.
It's a very sexless video, considering that it's sex. It's like not a hot thing.
Well, there you go. Like you just said, even if she didn't do that and she was just a successful, powerful woman, she would be fucking unforgiven for that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So,
but that's part and parcel for being a public figure, especially as a woman.
But that's not a bad thing that she does. A guy who does a bad thing like raping will get so much. Well, let's just hear him out and let's just see.
What are you talking about?
But
That's
not
not happening
just
right
hear
now
him
at
out.
all. Maybe 10, 20 years ago, but now, no, you don't ever recover from
Cosby,
that now.
do you know that there are legions of black men taking to Facebook, filming themselves, spouting their conspiracy theories about how the whole Cosby debacle is just them trying to get at black men.
Conspiracy.
He has armies of men and women, not to mention on his side, saying, give him a chance, the women are liars. What are you talking about?
I think he's a pariah.
Hits it on the head. I agree with that. Look, the conspiracy thing is what I'm getting at, not the sympathy thing. To my mind, public shaming is a kind of conspiracy because a conspiracy is defined by a thing where lack of evidence is evidence for, and evidence for is evidence for. So that's not. Do you know what I mean? A public shaming is a thing where if you but a public shaming, the unfairness of it, it's not that you don't deserve it. It's that if you defend yourself, you're extra fucked because people go fuck yourself. What's this explanation? Yeah. And if you say nothing, you're fucked because now you have no voice. That's the injustice of it for me. Not that an abuser doesn't deserve to be called out as an abuser. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Well, and that's where I think, what I was saying initially is just that you have to take ownership of something in order to recover. And, I don't think Cosby's ever going to do that. And I
don't think Cal Harmon did that either.
I would be curious, just statistically, what those numbers and what that breakdown would look at, because I can say for certain just from looking at media coverage that those calling him a pariah are far in the majority. I mean, that's just from writing about it and just but that's the media coverage. So I mean, you might be right.
You have to break it down demographically.
Yeah.
Most of who I'm seeing support him, or Keith Robinson. Do you know that he went on the Larry Wilmore show? This is early on when and sat there in his cool Keith Robinson way.
Oh, I remember that.
No, I don't think he did it.
That's a good Keith.
That's a good Keith Robinson.
You know what I'm saying? So, and this is a loved and respected black man going on a well, known big show.
I do agree in that. I feel like in the black community,
but that carries weight.
But I feel like
they
in the black
respect
community,
him. They respect the Keith Robinsons of the world. His word carries weight.
I don't. I mean, I will say this, that I do agree that in the black community, like, I actually had an argument with my mom about this recently, too, where my mom was still like, well, we don't really have all the facts about Cosby. And I'm like, we have at least, 50 facts.
Right.
It's kind of ridiculous. But I think that in the black community is different because I feel like people, especially of, an older generation, they're very, they still see certain role models as important to them, and I think that Cosby's still seen that way to some people. So I will say that there are certain older black people who are defending.
On Friends Like Us. Do you know who is? He was what I know him from. I think he's been in comedy forever, but he was on the show with. He's big show. He's beloved. He talks about getting recognized in Japan, and people know. So, unfortunately, we weren't recording when he got honest about his views on Cosby. We were just bullshitting and being nice to him while we were recording. But after we had wrapped up, we got into some real shit. And he was like, well, maybe I'm just being a guy about this. But I think if those women took the money, that it was something about blaming the women for taking the money. Kind of like what I heard Kurt say one time. If you took the money, you're a whore. And I ripped him a new fucking...
But what was the... She said that. If
we were
talking money for Cosby.
From Cosby as one of the victims or one of the accusers.
The civil damages, you mean?
Just any payoff, any payoff or settlement.
Okay.
And I'm not just putting this on credit. Also said this. And I fucking disemboweled him for it. Fuck you. I'm sorry, but guys, that's how many of these men think. And it's not just black men. It's plenty of men, but I predominantly you hear it from black men. And is not that old. Maybe he is and he just doesn't look it, but I don't see him as being of a Keith Robinson generation.
The older I get, though, the more I have respect for age, I guess. When I was even just within the last couple, because now I'm not trying to look at you. I'm not. There's only I can't. I'm sorry.
No, I was
laughing.
I was laughing at that just being the most lovely, innocuous kind of segue. I have respect for weight. I like it when people are big and little.
I respect girth on people. So a girthy woman.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Even now in my late 20s, I'm 29, and what an asshole I've always been, and then looking at people even 10 years or 20 years older than me and realizing how much it's hard to express because it's going to sound cheesy as fuck, but the simple, regular, platitudes that you hear all the time that are hacky, I appreciate them now because I understand how much experience they reflect. So when someone who's a Keith Robinson, an older, but someone I respect, I really respect Keith,
absolutely,
says a thing like that, I guess I don't want to just dismiss him offhand because maybe there's something to that. I'm not saying maybe take it easy on Cosby, but maybe there is a thing of well, Cosby's a bad example. He should rot in hell. But maybe there is a thing of like, for example, with this Cale Hartman story, we don't know what happened. We straight up don't know what happened.
True.
Like, here's the pictures.
Totally.
Pictures are not
It's
enough
true.
evidence. We don't know what happened between them, and only they know that.
Yeah.
So should he be lynched forever? He should get a beat down, but should it be forever? No, I don't think it should be.
But
forever.
then I would love him to come out and say, "Hey,
Yeah,
she was hitting me too," or something. Just like give us something.
I
Cale.
agree, and I feel like if he really does like want to stand by his story, then he should at least be making more statements that like really fully clarify what happens, as opposed to just being a vague like, you just don't know and it was not as bad as you think. Like, I just feel like that's a vague way of basically being like, okay, I did it, sorry. Like, I don't think that that's our
I
actual
saw
solution.
fear. I think he's terrified. That post
Well,
was
of course he's
scared.
terrified, because
yes, and I'm not
he-
saying he shouldn't be, but that's what that was. That like, well, but people see it as holding back and being disingenuous, but I think he was fucking scared out of his mind when he wrote that. Didn't
He
want to get an
didn't write
illegal
that.
bond.
There's
Did
no
he
way
not?
he
Yeah,
wrote
no,
that.
it was definitely
that
the lawyer
was
who wrote
written
it.
by a team of about like 5 crisis communications professionals who are hired and have like $1,000 an hour bill rate. That was written like so precisely to
Interesting.
skirt,
Mm-hmm.
different.
Like
I mean,
culpability.
yeah, well, just
Yeah.
the thing that people have like focused on about how he said the severity. He used kind of like a semantic trick to not outright deny, that nothing happened. Instead, he kind of
looking it up right now.
expressed. Yeah, there's one sentence. He expressed
do
outrage
remember
at the
that.
severity. And like I said, because we live in the age of transparency, the average person who isn't a legal scholar can smell that bullshit, and they
Yeah.
called that out again and again, So it's kind of, yeah. I have to say, like I said, I just I'm always wondering if I read everything on the internet, if I'll be able to kind of like Sherlock Holmes the truth out of a situation. Like, oh, people just missed this one Usenet post, which like reveals, the truth to everything.
Where is it? Oh, this article promised me it, and it didn't deliver. I just want to see the actual sentence so I can read it out loud. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I
I
read the
can see if I
post,
can
but
find it.
I should have like kept it.
You know what I read on the way over here? This is not on topic. Sorry.
Go ahead,
only
go for
slightly.
it.
So Beyonce wants to do a biopic of the woman Sarji Bartman, the African woman who was put on display in museums because of her big ass in the 1800s, right?
Oh, the Hottentot, Venus Hottentot.
Venus Hottentot. She wants to portray the Venus Hottentot.
Wow.
And there's some backlash. Now, it is worth noting that this is from an African person, like some African. She's like head of state over there in one of the countries. Africa is a land of many countries, so I'm not saying that this is reflective of all of Africa. But there's one particular man, I think maybe from the nation that Sarji came from, is like, Beyonce doesn't have the human dignity to portray Sarji Bartman. And so this is what I mean about...
Was that a racial thing? Like, what is that?
It's about her sexuality, her sexual past. This is what I'm
Yeah.
talking about when I say that women aren't really forgiven for their past and
But
for
you
the
gotta
things that they
think
do
of
that are
who's
not
not doing the
that are
forgiving.
that are not really hurtful, abusive things to other people.
But do you need those people's
but
forgiveness?
carries them like a shame. But this is getting
But
so
Beyonce
much.
doesn't feel shame. I guarantee you she doesn't feel ashamed.
Yeah, but this is something that's in the media now, and it's going to be whipped up in so many different ways. I don't even think she's even begun filming or producing or anything. But conversely, look at the rapper who just did the NWA movie. Who is the main one in it who beat up the girl? I'm blanking on the name because I'm hyped.
I know what you're talking about. But
I'm so fucking hyped. But anyway, not only were those scenes, they weren't included in the film, but most of the moviegoers who were interested in going and supporting it, who were fans of his, completely selective memory about his history with women and how he beat the fuck out of his ex-wife to the point that she needed surgery on her face. That was forgotten and forgiven because this was a man. And nothing more, nothing less. So I'm just, when I make these comparisons, it's like maybe they seem obtuse or something, but there really is a thread there of a woman's past that isn't even that bad following her if it has something to do with sexuality or sex work or slut shaming in a way that it just does not for men. We forget all the horrific things that men do.
Consequences for that? Like, Beyonce's not suffering consequences for that. She's extremely, not only
Abuse,
successful and rich, but
abuse
beloved.
from the public. Yeah, she's very, but there's something
But there's public that doesn't doesn't count. Like there's a tipping point of when the whole world's kind of against you and then people glom onto that opinion. But then there's people
You don't
who are
think
like,
that affects her at all?
Kim Kardashian is still a vapid whore with no business sense, which is just patently untrue.
Right.
Like, the majority of people, so those people who are like, I can't forgive Kim for the sex tape are not the ones she needs forgiveness from.
Yes, very true. But you don't think this affects them at all? Like, even
Affects
with all
who? her?
Yeah, Kim or a Beyonce, like that. None of that gets in
I
and
think
starts
there's a
to
level
affect
of
how
that
they.
that's good.
Just
I
because
think
they're
that-
still
I think
humans.
that-
They're still humans just like us. They hear this shit. They know what's said about them. It has to have an effect.
I mean, I think it all goes back to what we were saying before about like reading internet comments, where it's like if you're at that level, like all that
You don't
stuff
read
is like
all that
internet
shit.
comments.
You
Because
don't
you're
know.
like, this
Totally.
isn't even constructive criticism. This
Totally.
is just like you just hate me because
right.
I just have a lot of money.
Right.
Sorry, but I'm not sorry. I'm not going to.
But they get asked about it in interviews. It's like whoever news or Oprah or whoever they bring that shit up. They try to get their opinions on those kinds of things. It's like we always find a way to let them know ultimately what the score is as far as what their public image is.
I would go so far as to say if you didn't have people who were your detractors, who were those like dig your feet in and I'll never forgive you, woman, for being a woman, that's good for you. If it, like you don't want everybody to be that, but having a little bit of that is like, like if you have a podcast and nobody disagrees, it's fucking boring. But if you have a public persona and some people hate you for it, you can build a career on that.
Because that means that people care and are actually like, oh wait, I'm invested enough to like spend the time and energy and money to like look for you.
And
right. If people don't hate you, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And the people who support you will extra support you because now they have a cause to take up for you.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
So we just
Hashtag Sharad's Twitter army.
wait. So what was the sentence that struck you as being like semantically tricky?
You found it, right?
Because Calvin just found the post.
Yeah.
Oh, so the main thing is
He was like, "Give me back my phone, bitch."
That's my fault. I was like, let everyone have his phone.
No.
That was hilarious.
I did not care. You can have it. It's an old phone. I don't care.
No. Read it. Read the
so the thing I was weird is when he said, I was incredibly hurt to see my ex-girlfriend had made public accusations across all of her social media platforms to tell a story so far beyond the truth. The severity of her accusations are false and extremely harmful.
So that's the sentence.
And that's the thing. Where it's like the severity of her actions,
her accusations are false and extremely harmful.
Not specifically just her accusations.
Yeah, it's
like
the severity. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Boo,
and, like,
nigga.
so far-
Shut up. Shut up. Severity of her accusations.
When I just reread that, I saw exactly what you were saying. It seems professionally written. I see that, especially the end part, which is like best wishes. Like it's clearly kind of professionally
What does he
done.
look like? I'm gonna look at his picture.
He's like a
He
real
looks like- he
average
looks
looking
very
white dude.
douchey.
He looks like Justin Bieber, I think, a little bit.
He kind of looks like Neff from Green Day. Look at like a young version of him, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, huh? That's interesting. I never thought
He's
of that.
got kind
looks
of like a
real
Jonas
improv-y.
Brothers look to him. This motherfucker was hitting on a bitch. Let this motherfucker raise his. Oh my, really?
I just listened to a podcast with the girl he dated before. Did you hear that? The girl he dated before Best Selling.
I read an
I'm
article about it. I didn't
so
listen to
sorry,
it.
I'm blanking on her name, but
It was like Courtney something. Courtney, I don't remember her last name.
Courtney Love.
Thank you.
That would never happen.
Thank you.
She would definitely fuck him up way worse.
But that was a hard. I listened to it being like, well, we're gonna get the facts, and it was such a heartbreaking listen.
Huh?
Because she broke down and she was crying, and she had been in contact with Beth before Beth made this post, and Beth had run it by her and was like, I'm gonna do it. You might want to tell people if you're gonna come out about this, but just so you know.
Yeah.
And it's really heartbreaking, and it's really hard not to jump on board the fuck Gail Hartman bandwagon. Not that I'm not on it, but the fuck him forever bandwagon when you hear that, because it's hard to. It's really an emotional thing.
Yeah.
Beth's post is emotional, but hearing someone and listening to her voice talk about how sad and violated she felt when a person she loved turned on her is fucking horrible.
I'll stop saying fuck Kel Hartman when he fights me and gets that ass beat. Because I'm not fighting like your girlfriend, bitch. I'm fighting like a black bitch, and you're gonna get fucking hurt. He can have his record cleared after that. Just fight a real bitch.
You know what? Is
Raise
that
your
a real
hand
thing,
to
though?
a real fucking bitch.
What if
That's
he
what
were
I
like,
want him to do.
What if he came clean? What if he goes, you know what? I'm a fucked up person, and I did fucked up things to people that I love. love, but I'm willing to take a pie in the face or whatever. Like, I'll
more
be
than a pie in the
punched by
face.
all your black friends.
Here's some slapstick humor.
Get this Trenton girl over here to punch me.
Yeah.
And then publicly, like, could he redeem himself by getting an actual public physical
But
thing?
see, that's
cruel and unusual punishment,
and that's-
which is
and that's-
not constitutional.
Yeah, but
and
maybe
that's
it's
what
a
John
legal
Ronson's
process.
book is all about, is how we haven't had, they used to have public shamings like that.
Yeah.
Right.
And that we're actually going backwards in terms of that.
Right.
You know, it's
Yeah.
not, it's assumed guilty, you know, no due diligence. And yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, the lack of
But
due
I do
process
want to
is what
see
disturbs me.
y'all
Do it.
throw
And
down.
I'm skinny too.
Yeah, she
I'm
doesn't
not
fuck
acting
around.
like I've got muscles and shit.
It
but
doesn't matter.
Bad
I
foot come out.
what would your moves be?
Just vicious,
like a
and
fish
ugly.
hook.
Yeah, just it's like when you don't have actual girth or muscles on your side, you got to get dirty. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I've seen my mom fighting that motherfucker. You think I don't know how to hurt you? Come on, Kale. Come on.
It's
Come
not.
on.
He's so unlikable for having the name Kale. I can't get over it.
Kale with
Kale.
a C,
I
no
know.
less. Like
I
not even like
know.
the vegetable.
Not even the good kind of kale.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me to get past that. That was my first reaction also when my friend was like, oh, it's probably this guy Kale Hartman. I was like, Kale though? Like with a C, Kale?
I literally was like,
That's
this is the
more
douchiest
offensive.
white person name I've ever heard. Like Kale
I saw
Hartman.
Kurt make a funny post about the name Kale. Is this who he was talking about? This was
Yes.
a long, long time ago.
Oh,
though.
then maybe not.
This wasn't recently at all since this story broke. It was
I
a
don't
long.
know.
I'm wondering if it was the same person. If he just like saw him on a lineup or something.
The
and-
post was from a long time ago because I know
Yeah, the
Kurt
Facebook
wasn't
post
like
he
a
made.
fan of the name Kale.
No, the Facebook post that Kurt made making fun of the name Kale.
The Exojane commenters, I just had a repressed memory come back of reading, because I don't really read the comments anymore, but
Yeah.
there was someone, and yeah, they were talking, I think, about the appearance y'all did on Inside Amy Schumer.
Oh, shit.
And it was like, it had nothing to do with the post, but they
what
were.
was the post, though? Why would someone bring it up?
I don't even. It was probably something to do with comedy or
Okay.
maybe Amy Schumer. But they were. It was all. It was
It's, like,
all
never
negative.
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's never
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess sometimes it is, but it's probably what 0.001%.
I guess
Yeah,
the
yeah.
people who are moved to comment at all are
Yeah.
only the ones moved by anger and hatred. You
Yeah.
know, there
You know
are
what's-
many more people who probably enjoyed or
Yeah.
were neutral about it, but
Yeah.
just anger is just a more substantial, it's just a
also-
more stirring
It's so
feeling.
hard to
you-
get your point across, even when you think you're doing a good job. It's so hard. That Amy thing was cut down to like a little bit, which of course is how they do it. We
Right.
sat there for a few minutes and they cut it, and I'm happy. I mean, whatever. It's not a comedy thing, so it's
Yeah.
not like I was
I
telling
thought it
jokes
looked really
or whatever. But I didn't think it was bad at all. But of course, it doesn't fully express what you want to say. So in this little soundbite, even though I'm like, here's what we do, and it's not a bad thing, it works for us. So just take that, and people are like, this girl is abused. Like, you can't, no matter how many times I say I fuck who I want because I want to and I'm happy, people are like, well, she doesn't. She clearly, this is evidence that she
And see,
doesn't know.
that is the most patriarchal viewpoint to take.
But
No,
women, I
we
get that
know-
from a lot of women too.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
That's the hypocrisy of it
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
Is when you are, trying to tell someone how to live, like, you're being more patriarchal than the patriarchy.
Why do you think women can't fathom why a girl like you could
I think
exist
they
out
can
of her own-
exactly fathom that, and I think that they
or why they're
I don't know
threatened
how to
by
make
it?
this thing not do that. It's that's a good question. I guess I'm not exactly sure why women take issue with other women like that, but I think it like strikes more close to home than for a man.
I think it's also intrinsic in like the way that culture is here, where it's always like there's still this weird like Madonna whore complex that still goes on, and so I think that in general, like a lot of people just internalize it. So whenever someone's like, "No, like I actually am happy, like being in this kind of relationship," they're like, "No, you're not, though."
Because
I read
they're
a book
not.
once, like you know what I mean?
But I think it's people who aren't, like, for example, this wasn't from a girl, it was from a guy, but he was like, he goes on and on about how wrong I am to live my life how I live, which is like, honestly, even just boring and not controversial what I do.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not like having orgies every night. It's so not that exciting. But this guy, of course, as you read it, it's a long, long thing. And as you read it more
just
and more,
wanted to fuck you, I
he
bet.
just wants to fuck.
Yeah.
He's a married guy. He's bored. And he's like, but I'm in this marriage and I'm bored. So here's how you live. I mean, it
Wow.
always comes back to a
That's
thing
hilarious.
that's not even a little bit about me. It's never about who I fuck, because who gives a shit who I
But
fuck?
since you're a lost soul, here's 3 pictures of me jerking off. Tell me your thoughts. Yeah.
And he almost explicitly said, like, but lots of people are unhappy, so so go ahead and like have a piece of the unhappy pie.
Oh, you mean and be monogamous?
I guess. Because
That's
he's
very
monogamous.
bizarre.
Yeah, but see, but
He's
then,
drinking the Kool-Aid. What did he look like, though?
I have no
you
idea.
Didn't see.
It was
See, that's
anonymous.
very important.
It was posted by somebody else. But that it is kind of important. If somebody comes at me on Twitter, the first thing I'm like, "Are you ugly?"
So many
Because
people.
don't come at me like
But it
that.
constantly is true, though. It's always someone who are like, you should really
Because
not be
I'm saying,
talking."
if this was like a good-looking man who probably, got married, wanted to get married, but really
He wrote this
saw
into Gavin
what the
McInnes, so
sacrifice.
he's not a good-looking, reasonable man.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's like men know what the sacrifice is with marriage and commitment. They hurt to have their cake and eat it too. So to get that from a guy, it's like I'm very suspicious of
Plus,
who you really are and where this is
I
coming from.
don't
I should
have my
never
cake and eat it too.
I should
I
never
don't.
have to explain to a man why I want to fuck. You're the last motherfucking person I should have to explain that to.
Also, fuck you for reducing my life to I do what I want. It's not like, I make no sacrifices in my relationship and it's all just whatever you're upset about in your relationship. I'm personally trying to rub it in your face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's never like, and the comments you get also are like, I'm sure not about you. How can they be about you, right? How can someone be so incensed about your life that doesn't affect their life?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a rabbit hole that's usually not worth going down,
That's also what I got out of John Ronson's book, which was interesting, was number one, you don't have to feel ashamed. And that's like the number one thing of like, people will just feedback loop that. And also that, oh my God, the worst. Oh my God, I just did it again. I just stopped a sentence in the middle of the sentence.
Can I say one thing that he said that maybe it'll jar your memory?
Please do.
He said that a lot of people, like, for instance, the woman who tweeted that stupid thing before she got off the plane and didn't know
Justine
until she
Sacco?
landed that she had been fired. He says that, well, when I ask people, what do you think? How do you think she's doing now? What do you think happened to her afterward? He says that most people think, oh, well, she's probably all right. She probably just got on. When it's like, in the reality, that's not the case. I think we overestimate people's strength and we just assume that other people, it just goes back to like what you were saying about realizing that other people are just as human and as frail as you are.
Yeah.
I think when we shame people, we somehow assume that they're stronger and that they can get over it much better than
and
we
also
would.
worse and better also.
So we go in on them relentlessly and we think, oh, well, they just moved on and got on with their lives. But that's often not the case.
You know what someone told me a long time ago? This really great singer, Kelly Hogan, she does a lot of stuff with Nico Case. She said that the things that you don't like in other people are a lot of times the things you don't like in yourself.
Right. Yeah.
And I always think about that.
Yeah.
And it's really annoying because the stuff I don't like in other people, I'm just like, oh, yeah, all right. Yeah, that checks out.
Yep.
And it's, it's kind of like do you know that secret society, Al-Anon, which is like helping people who are dealing with the stress of someone who might be like an alcoholic or even just dysfunctional.
Right.
And the thing they talk about is don't take someone else's inventory. The only thing you have control over is yourself and your reaction to something. And it sounds very kind of, trite and like a knitted inspirational saying on a pillow.
Yeah, but there's a reason that sayings end up on pillows.
But it's very, yeah. I'm going to put that on a pillow. There's a reason sayings end up on pillows.
That's a good title. Thank you, Newshorn.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, but it's true. The trite ones are like the ones that you realize were true this whole time. You just shat on them for being trite.
Because, but think about like all the times where you've been the most frustrated. It's because you're trying to change something that's outside of your control.
Yep.
And the only thing you have control over is your reaction to it.
That's exactly it. And even like minute by minute, I go through that. Even when I get mad at Kurt for like a thing that, do you know what I mean? Like, you know, those, what did my therapist a long time ago, like hot thoughts or something. It's where
Hot thoughts?
It's like where you think a thought. It's when I think about penises and then I just.
What?
No. It's not a like actually sexy thought.
I'm so lost right now.
I hope someone makes a gif of that. It's when I think about penises.
It's like where you have a thought and then you realize while you're having that thought, the dysfunction of the thought.
Oh, yeah, right,
You know what
right.
I mean?
Oh, that's
it's like
interesting.
but that kind of thing, that exact thing where
Yeah.
we're like, oh yeah, it's me. It's just me.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
always me.
That'll drive you crazy, though.
I know.
Because I have
yeah.
so many of those thoughts. Like the first time.
No, I know.
the
It's like it's a
horrible
second
one.
by second.
Yeah.
So we got to go. But if anybody wants to plug anything, what do you got going on, Mandy?
Well, the thing that earns me money is
No, fuck that. The other thing.
yeah, exactly. I have writing that I've done about. We were talking about Pat Dixon, who we got married to in November. When we first started dating, I kind of documented that,
Yeah.
and so I put that out in a Kindle series. That's, I think, some of the best writing I've done. I'm really proud of it, and it's you can just get it at tinyurl.com/Stadtmiller or Dear TMIeries. So, and I link it on my Twitter, which is at Mandy Stat, STADT.
I've stalked excerpts of it. I didn't pay for the whole thing, but like,
It's fucking.
it's really good.
Your boyfriend makes Schumer money. You can afford the fucking 99-cent Kindle single, dude. I'll
buying
give
the
you
Kindle
the
thing.
$6.
This has been humiliating. Yeah, I'm buying it, bitch. Don't worry. Look
Okay.
at this giant phone I have to read things on. You've shamed me into it. What about you, Sade? You want to plug your podcast?
Yeah, just my podcast, Friends Like Us. It's me, Marina Franklin, Pat Brown, and just like a couple of rotating guests. We had Judah Friedlander on there last week. We've had Tel Alexandro. We've had people from SNL.
Awesome.
Really cool, interesting people. So check us out.
Friends Like Us.
Friends Like Us.
TMIery.
You can find it on Twitter and at play.it.cbs. It's the site that hosts it.
And what about you, Calvin?
I do a monthly show called Dudes Being Dudes, where it's basically it's like a joke show where it's like me and a bunch of other like gay comics and like lady comics. We like make up like bro personas and just like tell jokes as like those bro characters.
It's hilarious.
That is hilarious.
So yeah, it's like a really cool show. We took it to Sketchfest last year. We're gonna take it on the road again. So it's once a month, every second Tuesday at Over the 8 if you're ever in Brooklyn.
Yeah, very cool. And you guys know where I'm at Karen Margolis, Cross the Mouth. Thank you.
You
guys,
only have
everybody.
guys on there? Do you have girls?
Oh no, it's
You said
no,
girls.
it's always like ladies and gay guys, and we
okay.
just like make up like bro
Oh,
characters.
got it. Nice.
So
That's
we things like
genius.
Dick Snatch or like Brad Justice, like things like that. And we just,
Brad
like, make up,
Justice.
Yeah.
You guys, thank you. We got to jump off because
Okay.
the episode's producers don't get mad at me again. But thanks, you guys. I love
Okay,
you.
bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.